from a human being standpoint, this was still plaguing us, this crime. We were still thinking about it every day. Everyone I knew, and even in the media. And so I just wanted to learn more about this. I was so intrigued because the details of that verdict. I mean, if you read any verdict from a judge, the judge is trying to put together the story of what happened, and that story begins from the crime, reportedly, in terms of the point of view of the first person who discovered it, which was this PCR constable, and I show him in the first scene. From that point on, it's all about how did information come to be known, who figured it out, and how did they figure it out, and is that information accurate? That's what the judge is trying to determine, which is what we're trying to determine. What the judge's goal was the same as the public's goal in this circumstance, because not only is it about identifying who did it, it's also about identifying where these people are, what they're doing, did they say why they did it. All these things were somewhere in this document. At each stage, I would meet an officer, I would get to know them, Chaya especially. The more I got to know them, the more I really fell for these people. I thought they were incredible. These particular people and these particular women I was meeting were so extraordinary. I'd never met anyone like them. And then I started to realize the point of view of this story, if there is one to be told, it must be their point of view. It must be the women's point of view on this crime against a woman. To me, I mean, I almost equate it as a 9/11 of India. I mean, obviously, there's 26/11. There's all these events. This was a civil crime. I have this line in the film. This was not an act of international terrorism. This was a civil crime that the entire world noticed because nobody had ever heard anything like this. It changed India, and it changed everyone's perception of India. So that pressure to get it right, to me, stemmed from, if I'm going to do a narrative, fictionalized dramatization of this, the dramatic high points of the series must not be fabricated. I cannot make up more drama than already exists, nor can I do it for exploitation. Those are the two big pillars I had. The exploitation was the biggest, of course. When a lady constable would tell me that she felt pressure from her husband to go home and cook for him that night, but she had just found a 2-year-old in the dumpster that morning, which she had to deal with, that's when I started scratching my head saying, I don't think people know this. I don't, and part of the anger after that crime was really pointed towards the police officers. And I had the same anger. But then I realized I don't think a story's ever been told from their point of view, from a human point of view, because they're human beings. I'm not there to represent all of the police. I'm just talking about this particular case. And that came to me in one incident. I was sitting with one of the officers involved in this, who had been transferred there. And we were chatting. And I asked him again about some of the lady officers under his command. And he said, he called one of his lady officers in. And she was very thin. She looked gaunt. And he started questioning her in front of me, very simple questions of, Betty, did you eat today? And she was like, yeah, I had a little bit. How long did it take you to get here? She explained her commuting route. And he said, what time are you leaving? She said late at night she was leaving, and then she left. And he looked at me and said, do you think if some crazy scumbag enters this station violently, she's going to stop him? She's the first person sitting there in the lobby. Do you think she's going to stop him? I said, there's no way. He goes, this is the police force we have. She has the best of intentions, but that's the people we have. And these are the lady officers we have. That's when I realized this counter narrative needs to come out, that they're really struggling.
As a creator, do you think that was it done the way it was done because there was a woman at the helm of this?
I believe so. That's one of my deep feelings about this. That I believe that because Chaya was called in the middle of the night and came in, and because of the human being that she is, that this is what happened. I remember when the first time I read the medical report, which I wrote verbatim in the show, which you hear, I was devastated. I was out for a month. I was depressed, completely having read the details of it, which was also in the court documents. It really, really devastated me. And that's also when I was saying, what's the point? Why would I want people to go through this? Who the hell would want to go through this? Who wants to read these reports or hear them? And then as I discovered my way out, it also got me out of this deep sadness, because then I realized, oh my God, there are so many people fighting this. There are these women out there fighting this for me. I should look at them as well and see the positive, even though it's very complicated. When it came to, so I got through it. The process of writing got me through it. And then each person, like when Apurva told me what she reacted to, and people would come on board, it almost became these therapy sessions. We would discuss these things with each other. And it was extremely empowering for me to go forward. And then when we went to production, a lot of the cast and crew would have issues along the way and really emotional moments. But for me, I had gone through it. So in a way, I became like, I get it. Take the time you need, or I'm there. You want to lean on me, lean on me. I've gone through this. I've gone through all the crap. I've gone through every moment that this is going to do. And now I'm in the scientific mode of executing it. But you are still in that place because you just came on board. I understand that. So we were kind of there for each other. I mean, Johan, the cinematographer, was a genius, was adamant about us having a moment of silence the first time we shot in the ditch in Mahipalpur outside the airport, because that was the spot. And so we got there, and for me, a part of me was like, okay, let's go. We have to execute this, and it's cold and awful, and let's get out of here quickly. And he's like, can we please have a moment? And the whole crew took a moment of silence, and it was the right thing to do. But certainly for me, I had already done that the first time I came here 5 years earlier to scout this place.
Subscribe to MAMI Mumbai Film Festival and hit the bell icon to keep yourself updated on conversations on Dial M for Films.